What is happening, everybody? Hello and welcome. In today's video, we're here to talk about Conan Gray, more specifically the album Wishbone, which I believe dropped a few months ago. And ever since that album dropped, people have been requesting that I cover this album. I'm not exactly sure why, but people do seem to think that I'll enjoy it. So we're going to check it out here today. You guys aren't often wrong with what you think I'll enjoy, so this should be fun. But as far as my knowledge of Conan Gray, I really don't know too much about this guy. I believe I may have seen months ago a live performance of his, like performing one of his songs. But that's not really my bag, is like dissecting an artist off of one song and, pigeonholing their entire artistic career off of like one performance here. So it's difficult for me to do that. What I like to do is go a little bit deeper and dive into the album as one cohesive art piece and then try and put together the pieces and figure out what the hell is actually happening here. So we're going to do that here with today's album, Wishbone. If you're new around here, please consider liking and subscribing. And I got it all set up over here. I think I'm going to have to move over here a little bit. Bear with me while I pull all this up. And yeah, we're going to get close, all right? Let's get comfortable here. We're going to be spending about an hour or so together. So hopefully you guys don't mind me getting too close up on the camera. All right, let's check out the first song called Actor.
Nobody saw us in the hotel lobby, and nobody saw us with your sweatshirt on me, and nobody saw us leaving bruises on our necks in a summer spent in a cold shack. Nobody wondered where you went all April, like kicking feet under the whole damn world's table. But my friends discovered when you left me in July. No, I didn't cry, kept the light alive. But the church bells won't stop ringing for an undead wedding day, and you've spent the summer drinking while I spent it being erased. And I tried to hide the feeling, but it just won't go away. Let's pretend nothing happened. I agree,
I don't believe him.
but you're a much better actor than me. A friend of mine asked you, ever talk to Conan?
Got some great momentum.
You didn't react, you said, I barely even fucking know him.
Oh my God.
You're saving your face, but you take it out.
Oh my God. Uh-oh.
And now I'm lives ago. The church bells won't stop ringing for an undead wedding day.
Really like the momentum.
And you spent the summer drinking while I spent it being erased. And I tried to hide the feeling, but it just won't go away. Let's pretend nothing happened. I agree,
Stable.
but you're a much better actor than me. If you ever cared, well, I would know. Blame it on a bad manic episode. When you meet a girl on some TV show, there's a side of you that she'll never know. Tell all your friends that she's the one.
She's
And
the
you
one.
could say it's love, but the church bells won't stop ringing for an undead wedding day. And you spent your whole life drinking, oh, drinking me away. And I tried to hide the feeling, but I just can't lie that way. You pretend nothing happened, I believe, 'cause you're a much
There it is, actor. Okay, let's talk about it here. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You're probably getting sick and tired of me saying this after every album reaction I do, but it's worth repeating. In my opinion, the two most important tracks on any album is the first track and the second track. I'm sorry, the first track and the last track. First track setting up the album as to what we can expect sonically and possibly some of the themes, and then the last track is, does it all tie together? Does it, bookend the story? Does it, lead us anywhere? Is there any kind of actual payoff? We'll talk more about that as we approach the last song on the album. But as far as an introduction to the album, I think sonically it's really beautiful. Honestly, I really like how it starts off so thin in almost kind of like a frail way with just like the light acoustic guitar, and it's very stable, but almost like kind of quasi shake to the ending of his phrasing. It's elusive in a way where it leads you to believe like you kind of believe what he's saying, but like at the same time you don't really believe he believes what he's saying. And that comes down to some great voice acting, trying to kind of paint the story. Not too many metaphors used here. I mean, or they are used, but they're used in a way that's pretty easy to digest. It's not too heavily coded. But let's just quickly go through some of the lyrics because it's pretty interesting. I think at the end of the day, it's about being discarded and thinking that you had something that was really special and, that meant something to both of you, only to find out like the other person didn't feel that way about you or was stringing you along in a way. We'll talk about it. Let's go through the lyrics here. Nobody saw us in the hotel lobby, and nobody saw us with your sweatshirt on me, and nobody saw us leaving bruises on our neck. So that leads me to believe that they were hiding this relationship for some reason, or they weren't as open with it for some reason. And he seemed to be okay with that because maybe this was the beginning of a relationship. And maybe he just didn't want to make any announcements, or they both didn't want to make any announcements. They wanted to make sure they had like a real thing here. And things in his perspective seem to be going pretty good until we get to about July. That he finds out like he was abandoned, he was left, he was discarded. And he put on a brave face about this. He's like, no, I didn't cry. I kept a lie alive. But in his mind, like he obviously had a deeper connection to this person than this person had to him. And, there's this sense of abandonment. There's this sense of isolation to all of this. And when he's explaining things like keeping the lie alive and yes, I agree we should be doing this, like the hesitation and like the slight disdain in his phrasing, especially on the last word of each of the melody, it really like paints a picture of like him like almost like saying it to himself as a mantra, but not really believing it. So like I believe this is less about him explaining a situation to a group of people, even though he's talking about his friends or her friends noticing or whatever. But I think it's really more about him kind of saying to himself, okay, no, this is fine. This was always the goal here. Maybe I thought, wedding bells were in our future, but that's maybe I was just being ridiculous. But in the back of his mind, like he knows like it's a lie, and like this person's a much better actor than he is because, he was just completely discarded, and I don't have any experience with this. I don't think this has ever happened to me, so it's hard for me to comment on this, but I can imagine what this situation would feel like. To feel like you had some sort of like deep emotional connection with somebody that you thought something was building, and then all of a sudden one day it just stops. And that person is just left you. And like when that person is asked about you, like I barely even know that person. And like in the back of your mind, you're like, we shared so much, besides just like the raw primal physicality of this relationship. Like obviously to Conan, this meant a lot more than that. But to this other person, I guess she just didn't care. Like she said, she'll be talking about her friends. Like, yeah, I barely fucking know them. You're saving your face, but you take it out in your nose. So this is leading me, obviously, to the person that he was with, maybe have maybe a slight drug problem or is just doing some coke. I don't know. But the undead wedding day, yeah. So like it's wearing on him. It's wreaking havoc in the back of his mind, and like he's being erased. His feelings aren't being validated. He feels discarded. He feels abandoned. He feels like there was a real emotional connection here, and now he's just like pretending that it never was. And the question I have is he pretending for his friends to save face with them? Or is he really pretending just for himself to save some little bit of sanity from his psyche? Because like that's the vibe I'm getting from all of this. But at the end of the day, she's just a better actor than he is, And I don't know. I feel for him. I really do. Like I said, I try to put myself in the art piece and try and pull my own experiences out from like what I'm listening to and how I could see that affecting me or whatever. But This is difficult for me because I've just never been in this situation where I've felt out of the blue a relationship had ended and the person was like, oh, I barely fucking know them. Like every relationship that I've had that's ended, like I kind of saw coming a mile away, or I just did something stupid where I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I'd fucking leave too. Or, you know, like, or just fizzled out, just like life. But this is like, I mean, it's a traumatic thing. You know, it's a traumatic thing to feel like you're just nothing, to feel like, you know, somebody truly valued you. And then once you realize like, oh no, this person doesn't value me. They're using me for maybe just sex, maybe just, I don't know. I don't understand. But it's an experience that I haven't directly had, but I definitely feel for him. And then overall, as far as the song goes, like I feel like Conan's got a pretty stable voice. I think he did some great voice acting on this one. Lyrically, I think it's fairly poetic. It does have metaphors into them, but it seems pretty easy to digest. I'm used to like reacting to stuff that's like so coded and like everything means something, and there's like so many Easter eggs that like my brain is like hyper focused on certain things, but I don't think that's going to be Conan. I think it's going to more be like, it is what it is. The metaphors are there. It's going to be easy to understand. But that doesn't mean the music is like throwaway or plastic in any kind of way, especially with like the polish and the production of all of this, because this song had some great momentum to it. I love the cinematics. I like the staccato stabs. I love like the folksy pop nature of it. I like how it felt like it was speeding up when we were almost going into double time. Like he mentions like manic episodes, and when he does that, like that's when the song or the string section really starts to come alive, and it feels so much more cinematic, and it feels like it's almost panning in your head, and you're like, okay, I feel almost detached from what's happening here too. But overall, man, yeah, I got nothing but good things to say about it. Actor's a great song. So my understanding also, as we move on, is there are 3 music videos to this album as well. So I'm going to check those out. So bear with me to do that. And I'm told that they might connect in some kind of way as well. I believe that was mentioned on Live Request Wednesday. So bear with me as I pull this forward. Cool. And the first one, I believe, let me just make sure here, would be this song. All right, got it. Here we go. Let's check it out. Bigger. Is he from the Midwest? Yeah.
You know that I love you, and I have a feeling that you love me back. We're sat in my bedroom, and I hear your heart like a train on the tracks. Your eyes are
Oh shit.
heaven, your voice is like
I beefed it already. Oh my gosh. All right, so yeah, I think I remember somebody saying this. I think Conan is just gay. Whoops. So it's not a girl, it's a guy. That makes more sense with the sweater thing. I was like wondering, I'm like, how can he wear her sweater? Like if I try putting my wife's sweater on, it would be like a training bra to me. Okay, this makes a lot more sense. All right, so Conan's gay. Gotcha.
rain.
Jesus, man.
11s, they all hear your name. I'm too shy to tell you the words on my mind. I hope you can see if you read through these lines that I wrote this song about you. Something I wish you knew. Something I tried to say, but now I say it straight. I wrote this song about you.
I wonder if he's closeted.
I drive through the suburbs, and you're playing all of your favorite songs.
Oh, that's totally what's going on.
cry when she hears Elton John. You're singing of night.
Love Elton John too.
I'm laughing like spring. Your brown racer jacket, my hands through the sleeves. The smell of your perfume is all over me. I can't wash it off, so it's easy to see that I wrote this song about you. Something I wish you knew. Something I tried to say, but now I say it straight. I wrote this song about you. You know that I love you. Is it done believing you might love me too? Yeah.
All right, this is kind of adorable.
Now you know that I love you.
All right, this one leaves me with kind of like mixed emotions because, like, on one side of things, like, it feels like adorable, and the song is fairly well. It's in a major key and everything, and it's got some really interesting dynamics between the cinematics and the acoustic guitar as like what a power chord would be. So it feels like triumphant in a sense. But the reality of the lyrics is kind of sad. Well, it's actually very sad. And again, it's from a perspective that like it's going to be so difficult for me to put myself into. Not that I'm trying to make it all about myself, but I try and reach from my own experiences and take off from that, from the art that I'm being presented with. And this is something I don't have too much experience with, especially being, you know, abandoned by somebody like that. And then also realizing now that this is, you know, a closeted gay person. Now, this is something I have a little bit of experience with, not being gay myself, but I grew up and one of my best friends was gay. And I mean, I've known him since we were little kids and children. And it's not something that like he ever really talked about until we got to a certain age in school. I think we were pretty much almost in high school or halfway through high school at that point. But I remember how difficult it kind of was for him to come out and the actions he would take around women with us, you know, because he'd just hang out with me and my other dude friends, and you know, he was the only gay person. And you know, we'd be talking about girls and, you know, trying to like, you know, roll the dice with, oh, we're gonna try and hook up with this hot girl or whatever, or you know, maybe we'll ask so and so to the dance or whatever happened. And he'd always kind of try and play along, and it did always seem kind of like a little forced. But I think we were all just too young and naive to really know that's what he was doing. But it wasn't until he came out years later, and I asked him, I said, well, how long have you been like this? How long have you known that you were gay? And he's like, I've known since I was like a child. Like I almost knew immediately. Like once you start having feelings for somebody, you kind of know or whatever. And that made me sad for him. That made me sad for him that he had to pretend for so many years. He had to be his own version of an actor around even us, his closest friends, to pretend that he liked something that he didn't, that he was, that he couldn't have what he truly desired because he was worried about saving faces with himself. And he's closeted for a very long time, or maybe not. I don't know how long people stay closeted for, what the norm is, but like in my experience with friends and everything, I mean, any amount of time is too long. You know, it's really sad that you have to pretend to like a certain thing and be a certain kind of person when you know that that's not you. Like, what does that do to your head? What does that make you feel like? I mean, you must feel so. I think this is the thing that like nobody talks about with like people that are closeted is like, you must feel like such shit. You must be like, oh my God, I have to hide and pretend everything about myself is not real. Like that's gotta fuck with your head so bad. So I felt bad for him for a while, but don't feel bad for him now. He's excelling in life, and he's a very flamboyant, awesome fucking dude. And he's living his best life now. But for many years, he had issues with it, and I fell for him. And I've had many gay people in my life, my uncle being notably one of them, who I didn't know was gay until after he had passed. But he was a person who basically raised me, and one of my favorite people ever, honestly. I mean, he was just a really beautiful, awesome guy. And I had a weird relationship with that because part of my family is kind of conservative. Kind of, I think conservative is just the best way to say it. And I was raised, I mean, it wasn't something that was often talked about, but I was raised by somebody that said that being gay is a mental illness. Like there's something mentally wrong with them. And that was kind of a mind fuck for me because the person who was saying that to me was a trusted, authority, loving figure in my life that had never lied to me or steered me wrong or anything. Now, I never really believed that. I always kind of looked at the person, I don't want to name anybody, saying that to me as kind of like, why would they even be saying this? Because I grew up with my friend who was gay, and I knew that he wasn't mentally unstable. There was nothing wrong with him. He was just a little bit different than me. But at the end of the day, like we're just the same thing. He just likes something different. But that was kind of a mindfuck for me, So I don't know, the dynamics of being closeted, and it's got to be incredibly difficult. But again, an experience I don't have firsthand knowledge of, so I probably can't even comprehend the devastation. But I see this as the person Conan was with being closeted and trying to put in that front with the girl, and him coming home to Conan, and Conan being like, "Oh my God, I smell her perfume on you," and like Conan probably recognizing like, "Oh my God, why is he doing this?" And it fucking with his head. But I think Conan also knows there's just something like I think Conan knows that like the guy that he's with, that he cares for so much, just hasn't come to terms with himself yet. And he's willing to put himself on the back burner, and he's willing to put his own emotions deeper into his stomach and not express them to help this person, which shows even more like that. It shows how much even more that he actually cared for this guy. So on one side of things, it's a beautiful song. He wrote the song because he loves this person, but lyrically, it's telling the story of somebody that's closeted, and Conan stifling his own emotions, his own feelings, and watching the man that he loves quietly suffer as well, even if he's doing something that is fairly negative towards Conan. At least that's my take on it. Overall, the song was awesome. Again, we're getting this kind of folksy, cinematic track, and it's got some cool momentum to it. And I'm really digging Conan's voice. All right, what one is next here? Next song would be Vodka Cranberry. Okay, this one's another music video. Let's see if they actually tie together. Here we go.
Says he's just sad summer's over. I can't believe how much time we wasted.
Yeah, it's the same guy here, so they connect.
I wish it could just be us for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think they're like in the Midwest too, which also probably makes things a little more difficult. Like as hard as that was, that whole story that I told you here for me and for everybody else, like I live just outside of Boston, a couple miles from P-Town. Like we're a pretty liberal place, and like there's gay people pretty much everywhere. But I would imagine like in small towns in America, in the Midwest and stuff, people might have some outdated views.
You say we're fine, but your brown eyes are green this time. So you've been crying. It's in the way you say my name, so quick, so straight. It sounds the same as the time we took a break. February 4th through the 16th of May. So strange to be back at your place, pretending like nothing has changed. Oh, speak up, I know you hate me. Looked at your picture and cried like a baby.
Been there.
Caught you up in the middle of the night, waiting like an imbecile. If you won't end things, then I will. Now I look dumb and you look mean. You casually steal back your t-shirt and your polo cap. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I notice everything you do.
That's one thing that's gonna be great about a gay relationship is like my wife will steal my clothes, my hoodies, all that stuff, and like she has a grand old time doing it, but like I can't steal any of her clothes. Like if you're in a relationship with like a guy that's like around your same size, your wardrobe is just doubled, you know? Just another pro for being gay.
Since the time we took a break, everybody knows you don't love me the same. So cruel to be lying to my face, 'cause I don't want you too scared to say speak up. I know you hate me. Looked at your picture and cried like a baby.
Heavy chorus here.
Speak up, don't leave me waiting. Got way too drunk off the vodka, cranberry. Caught you up in the middle of the night, waiting like an imbecile. If you won't end things, then I will.
Smoking pot or what's going on? Whoa. Okay. Still holding that note, by the way.
Don't leave me waiting. Got way too drunk off the vodka, cranberry. Caught you up in the middle of the night, waiting like an imbecile. If you won't end things, then I will.
What an ending. Is this the ending? Oh, shit.
Brad!
You live on the highway? Oh my god. All right. Whoops. I don't know what the hell's playing. Chaperone now. We're not doing that right now. Go back here. Okay, yeah, let's talk about it. Vodka Cranberry. Sonically so far, this is my absolute favorite. And we got an interesting contrast for most of the music video as to opposed to the lyrics. Like it seems, you know, fairly positive. Like they're having a good time. They're spinning around. They're in the water. They're sweating. You know, they're doing all fun stuff. Just joking around, brushing teeth, sharing cigarettes or smoking pot. Like it seems like a pretty, you know, beautiful thing. But that's not what the story the song's about. But there is a positive angle as well too, where I feel like Conan's really kind of coming to the terms of, you know, if you won't leave, I will. Maybe he's starting to like realize like this isn't healthy for either of them. You know, maybe it's just not his right time to come out, and maybe it's just not healthy for him to continue to putting himself in this place of being discarded and left behind and feeling kind of used. Because like when you look at them together in this music video, which by the way, the acting in the music videos I think is absolutely stellar, especially from this other guy. I don't know if it'll even tell me his name down here. Let me get the lyrics now. I don't think it'll tell me his name. But whoever that guy is, I think he does a really good job. But the acting is great, and like it looks like a positive thing. But I think he's like, he's coming to terms saying like, I don't think we can keep doing this. I don't think I can keep putting myself in this place. You know, this is just one of those like gut punches where you come to realization like, oh, they're gonna be gone. And then like when things get silent here towards the end, and like he comes out and he's like looking for what's his name, Brad. You know, he realizes it's done and it's over. And even though it might have been the most healthy thing for both of them, possibly, he's still left in this place of like, oh shit, it's done, it's over. And the things we do to like protect our own minds, our own, you know, how we view the worlds and everything, and how we process information. I think there's a lot of this on the album as well. I think there's a lot of like creating and doing actions in a way that might not be true, but might be beneficial to keeping your psyche healthy. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. It's too early to tell because we haven't heard too much of the album, but that's what seems to be happening. Yeah, look at this acting. Like he looks devastated, right? And then even Conan out here, like, yeah, like they're both really good actors. I could see them easily being in movies or whatever. But yeah, sonically, this one is definitely my favorite so far. It's got the strongest hook. That beautiful, a long falsetto. I mean, Jesus Christ, that was like what, like 11 seconds? Like, I don't even know what note that was. But it's a beautiful falsetto. And then the filter out at the end where things like turn into like this almost like choir where the music just fades away, dissolves around you, and then like the vocals reverberate between your headphones and just feels like it's shaking in the inside of your head. It's devastating and it's dramatic, which are two of my favorite things when it comes to music. I really enjoy dramatic music, and Conan is delivering it for me. All right, what's the next song here? Next one would be Romeo, which we don't. We have Caramel music video. So let me just go back over here and pull this up. Bear with me for a second. Okay, so it'll be Romeo. Here we go. All right, a little bit of cheese. I'm down for some cheese.
I was out waiting for you, but now you've got away from me.
Got a cool indie feel in this one.
I was out praying for you, that's why my friends pray for me. Even on my worst day, I was never treating you the selfish way that you treated me. Even in my worst pain, I was never dragging you around, so you'll carry my shame for free. You don't wanna know all I did. I drank your poison from your lips. I took that blade into my ribs. You took away my will to live. So I hope you know I'm never gonna want you back. You put me in a grave of stone, but now it only makes me laugh.
I don't believe him. This is coping right here.
Never like sitting around your egoist actor friends. Sick. Never liked kissing your mouth with cigarettes on your breath. Looking back, I don't know why I got so up in arms about losing you by my side. Looking back, I wish I listened to my friends who said I could get a much better guy. I don't wanna know what you did with all the girls you swapped me with. Your drunken mouth all on her lips. Guess I was just your experiment. Fuck. So I hope you know I'm never gonna want you back. You put me in a grave of stone, but now it only makes me laugh. Spending my summer in love, then I went and got drunk, so I did it all damn for what? You're no Romeo. You're no Romeo.
That's got to be female vocals, right?
Where art thou? I'm all alone now. Where art thou? I'm back in your hometown. Where art thou? Fuck if I can.
I got Romeo and Juliet thing.
Gotta figure
Shakespeare
out
or whatever.
your shit with someone else, man. I can't fix you. So I hope you know I'm never gonna want you back. You put me in a grave of stone, but now it only makes you laugh.
Interesting. Let's talk about it. Romeo, I am a little confused as to what to make of this one. My first gut initial reaction to all this is a song that was written while the wound was still nice and fresh, and it's just a coping mechanism because everything we've heard up until this point is showing us that like now Conan really cares for this guy. Like there's more to it, and even like the beautiful music videos, like these touching moments and everything together. Like yeah, nobody's perfect, but as a coping mechanism, when we've been hurt by somebody, we start to try and dissect their faults and make it seem like, oh my God, what was I thinking? You're no Romeo. You've never, been doing the right thing for me and you hurt me in so many ways. But in reality, like that's just like the nature of relationships. Like nobody's perfect. And sometimes we hurt the people that we love the most. And while I don't condone his actions and what he's doing, it's an experience that I've never personally had being a closeted gay man. So like, I don't know what the fuck's going through their head. I don't know like what that does to your psyche, but I do know like the fresh pain after a breakup, when you start to look at that other person with like a magnifying glass and find their faults to make yourself feel better. That's what this kind of feels like to me. It feels kind of almost sarcastic, and even like the nature of the song, like this is our first upswing melody for the most part. Like we had the same tempo and the same key and everything so far through most of this. And, but we've lost like most of the dramatics outside of the bridge, which was very cool, by the way. But I think this is more just kind of like a sarcastic, kind of coping mechanism thing, or maybe not. Maybe he's got to the point now where he's just like looking back at it and he's realizing this person was really just poison for him. And that's just the truth of the matter is sometimes like people aren't necessarily poison, but they're poison for you. And like, I think about like all my failed relationships in the past. Not that I've had a ton of them, but like we've all had exes and everything. And at first there's devastation and then there's anger. But after years have passed and everything, like I still wish no ill will. And I wouldn't go out of my way to talk bad about some exes that I've had. Partly just because so much time has passed now, and to be like, well, they're a completely different person. That was like 10 years ago, like who knows who the hell they are now. But this feels very fresh. This feels very open wound of a song, and it feels like it's supposed to be kind of an anthem. But once again, I'm left asking, like, is he trying to tell us this, or is this just him talking to himself? Is this him coping with himself and just his inner dialogue trying to make himself feel better? Because to me, that's just kind of how it feels. But overall, yeah, pretty good song. Pretty good song. Again, we got the cinematics there. The bridge was really cool. Things got kind of wacky. You know what it kind of reminded me of? It had a really cool indie type of flair to it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Sean Mullins. I think he was around like in the late 90s, early 2000s, but it just had kind of that vibe to it with a little bit of cleaner production. Some of his like B tracks and whatever. Sean Mullins is awesome. You should check him out if you haven't already. All right, what's next? I want to make sure I'm not going to a music video. All right, next one is My World. So if we're going in cohesive order, which I don't think we are because there's been a breakup. Maybe we are. I don't know. We'll find out. My World. It's so funny because this song, like sonically so far, like even like structurally, is like it feels like it's trying to be super 80s. But like the patches, the sound design they're using is not super 80s. It's like more of a modern twist.
I've given up on being anything.
Yeah.
Romeo, I do not need a referee. Telling me we're just a summer fling. But it's true. I found approval as a remedy. Every fucking person I would have to please. Maybe I got that from you. But why? It's my world and it's my life.
Great harmony.
It's my girl and it's my guy. I'll kiss some if I might like. I don't have you in mind. It's my world and it's my time. I'll waste it how I might like. I don't have you in mind. I don't have you in mind.
See, now this feels more organic.
You were everything. All my self-assessment on your thought of me. You shut the door and shut the world of me. How was I supposed to know who I should be if I was no longer yours?
You're finding self-identity, man.
It's my world and it's my life. It's my girl and it's my guy. I'll kiss some if I might like. I don't have you in mind. It's my world and it's my time. I'll waste it how I might like. I don't have you in mind. I don't have you in
Kind of psychedelic. That's weird.
A full year later, you're calling me back. You're saying you're sorry for treating me like trash. It's totally okay, dude. I really don't mind. You got
do,
your
though.
revenge by being stuck with your life, so you can keep drinking and living a lie and talking all low when you're out with the guys.
Oh my God, that's such a thing.
It won't affect my life, 'cause I don't care anymore. But why? It's my world and it's my life. It's my girl and it's my guy. I'll kiss some if I might like. I don't have you in mind. It's my world and it's my time. I'll waste it how I might like. I don't have you in mind. I don't have you in mind.
Okay, so this one feels a little more honest. And I'm not saying like any of these tracks are not honest in general, because I think they are honest for what they're supposed to be. But the projection and like the place and the frame of reference that they're in, I think is a little askewed. And that could totally be by design. In fact, I think that it is done by design, because this one just feels like, well, and it even outlines it in the song here. It feels like it's like a year after Romeo. So like that wound has definitely healed, but like there's still a scar there, and there's still like a sense of like, ah, fuck you, dude. You know? But for the most part, it seems pretty positive. It feels like he's just like done with judgments. He's done with like, you know, trying to like look at this guy like with a magnifying glass or whatever. And he's like, look, you're going to drink yourself into oblivion, and you're going to keep hiding, and you're going to keep, you know, pretending you're somebody else. The line that really got me was like the make your voice deeper when you're with the other guys. Yeah, that immediately brought back a memory of just my friend and a couple gay guys that's happened to. I've just noticed. One being a dude that I used to work with, and I was trying to get a shift covered. This was so long ago, and I remember calling, and like he didn't pick up, so I went right to voicemail, and I heard his voicemail, and he's like, "Hey, this is," I'm not gonna say his name, but he's like, "I'm on here right now." I literally left a voicemail. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Was that like an imposter of you? Like, why does your voicemail sound like this? This is like the most absurd sounding I've ever heard you right now. Why are you talking like this? Like, I forgot to even ask him to pick up my shift. And the next day he came to me. He's like, yeah, it's like my dad still doesn't know that I'm gay, and like I'm hiding it from some people. And I'm like, so you just talk lower like that around some people? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, does it feel weird? He's like, no, you just kind of get used to it. And then even my friend that I mentioned that I grew up with, like I would notice when we would be with certain friend groups and stuff that he wasn't as close to, maybe didn't know his personal details, like, you know, he'd go down a little bit of an octave in his voice, you know, and like have a little bit more vibrato in his chest. And I'm like, oh man, like, I don't know. It's because when you hear like someone's natural speaking voice for so long, like they're how they just normally sound, and then they switch it and they change it like that, you're like, it's so noticeable. But whatever. But yeah, I feel like this is like, you know, the wound is kind of healed a little bit. You know, he's kind of like not really forgiven him, but like he's kind of like, you were poisoning me, but at the same time, like you're not even on my mind anymore. I'm in such a freeing place. I'm in such a place where I'm just living my best life. I'm going to do whatever I want to do and care less about judgments of other people and judging other people. And I'm just going to do me. But yeah, pretty good song here. This one's, yeah, it's not too bad. I feel like it's a little more positive, and I feel like he's moving on to somewhat of a healthier place. But you can definitely tell there's still a scar there, because he does not, he's not afraid to talk about the low voice thing and throw a couple jabs at this dude. but not really make it as intense as like Romeo. Yeah, pretty good song. Which one's next? Class Clown.
Growing up didn't go how I'd liked it. Twists and turns like the limbs of a pine. Trying to grow on an earth that rides and do it all with the biggest smile. Half my friends barely know who I am, and there's none at fault but this own singing man. Don't wanna hear that I'm trailer trash. It's a heavy topic for crystal glass. Everything comes back around. I still feel like the class clown. Everything comes back around. I still feel like the class clown.
Nothing wrong with being the class clown. I was a class clown.
Take your pick, be left out or left with. I learned early on, either way it's a shit stick. While my father was barreling fists, I was
Love this
laughing
melody.
all the way through it. And now the blondies are clutching their ribs from my latest joke from my old bag of tricks. But there's this beautiful moment in it where I can sort of just vanish. Everything comes back around. I still feel like the class clown. Everything comes back around. I still feel like the class clown. Everything is over now. I still feel like the class clown. Like if I get older now, I'll let my younger version down. And if I stop laughing, all the blood will just start pouring out. 'Cause everything comes back around. I still feel like the class clown. Been trying to talk to my sister about it. We joke a million jokes through the phone. Nothing funny about that home, but her and I, we already know. Everything comes back around. I still feel like the class clown. Everything comes back around. I still feel like the class clown.
Ooh, I love this one.
Everything comes back.
Hell yeah. You think he's gonna fade out, but he doesn't. That a boy. Yeah, so okay, so Vodka Cranberry and this one, Class Clown, these are my two favorites so far. I've liked every song so far. Don't get me wrong. I think they've been good and they have their place, and I feel like it's so far, it fits within the momentum of the album, at least so far. But sonically, this and Vodka Cranberry are two of my favorites. Vocally, this is one of Conan's strongest performances. And you might not think that because he's not popping off with like these wild ballads, or like it's not showing too much vibrato, and he doesn't like give us too many wild like aha like falsettic 10-second blowouts, but there's still a lot of cool things going on here and showing a lot of restraint and a lot of control, and a lot of emotion in his vocals here. So I think this is one of his best vocal performances so far that I've enjoyed. And the melody structure on this one is awesome. It's a little trippy. Again, it has like that folk kind of vibe to it. So far, all these songs have definitely been fairly folk pop driven, with like elements of 80s or some psychedelic like slipped in there. But it's all had the same roots of like kind of like folk pop, but with like other elements kind of sprinkled throughout. But so structurally, sonically, one of my favorites, vocally also as well. So, and we're also getting a little bit more insight into Conan as a person and hearing about some of his anxieties and possibly some of his trauma growing up and being known as the class clown. A very different experience than one of my own. I was a class clown, and he looks at it as kind of a negative thing. And I think it definitely can be considered a negative thing if people are just laughing at you. But if you're funny, they're laughing with you, and it's a great feeling to make people laugh and to bring some comedy and some happiness into the world. Um, but if people are just laughing at you, and that's the what a class clown is to you, then it's a very very different thing. And he looks at it as kind of a negative. He looks at it as like his life is a circle. He gets to a certain point, and at the end of the day, like he looks in the mirror and he sees himself still that child. That's a class clown that he looks at as a negative thing, and it hurts him, you know. And he's asking himself, why was I like that? Why was I laughed at? Why did I bring myself this pain? Why was I doing this? And was he acting a certain way to hide a certain aspect of his own personality? Maybe. Did people just not like him because they saw something different in him, and then that is what made him a clown? That could have happened. I don't know. But I could definitely see that, especially if his roots are where the music videos are kind of alluding to. And he talks about talking to his sister and how that she knows that like family life was not always the greatest at home as well. And it sounds like they're both trying to grow. And I'm glad that he still has a great relationship with his sister and they can kind of smile and do whatever. But yeah, I love this one. I mean, even at some points, like it felt like kind of like whimsical, and it felt like there was almost like this essence of like childlike wonder, just through like the melody and everything. As simple as it was, like the melody is like the first thing that really got me. Great vocal slides, great vocal lines. This is awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's just so weird, like hearing about like his perspectives and things that like I thought were positives, and him looking at as like a negative, but like he just has a completely different life experience than I do, you know. And as much as like I try to put myself in the music and try and like pull art from it and make me feel something personal, you know, it feels like oddly familiar because I've known people like this kind of, but like oddly detached as well. So this is kind of this is an interesting album to dissect, but so far it's been pretty good, honestly. Let's see what's next. Nauseous. All right, I just want to make sure I don't skip the music video because I know the last one ties in.
Just wanna dance.
I've been dying for some piano.
Feels like our final act. You're holding my hand. My mind sees a grisly trap. I know you, I've seen you, I've watched you around. Everyone trusts you, they love you out loud. You won't hurt a fly, but we're flying up now, and all that goes up, well, it's got to come down. Your love is a threat, and I'm nauseous. Scares me to death. How I want it, not coming
Oh, that's beautiful.
but I'm haunted by people who've loved. So you scare me to death. Yeah, you scare me.
left.
With people before, they left like a fallen floor, and there as I soared, I vowed to be never more. Too trusting and loving, depending and kind. Behind every kiss is a jaw that could bite. And maybe that's
What a
why I feel
lyric.
safe with bad guys. Because when they hurt me, I won't be surprised. Your love is a threat, and I'm nauseous. Scares me to death. How I want it, not common sense, but I'm haunted by people who've left. So you scare me to death. Yeah, you scare me. Maybe I'm here, waiting for someone to get through my years of trying to trust them. I know that it's in me to really love someone, but that's not a thing that I learned from my loved ones. Your love is a threat, and I'm nauseous. Scares me to death how I want it. It's not common sense, but I'm haunted by people who've left. So you scare me to death. Yeah, you scare me. Yeah, you scare me.
Again, thank you for not a fade out. Every single time I think this dude is going to fade out, he doesn't. I hate fade outs. He's sticking the landing on every one of these. Okay. Well, so far we've talked about songs that I found the most sonically pleasing or had the best hooks or whatever. But lyrically, this one is my favorite. So we got some great lines in this one. And I think at the end of the day, it's really just about insecurities and fear of vulnerability. And, you know, strangely enough, this is probably one of his most vulnerable songs so far that I've heard, at least in my opinion. It talks a little bit more about his relationships with people and being afraid that they're going to leave him and abandon him if he shows too much of his real self to them. And I mean, I can understand how that would be terrifying, and I can understand how that would be. I mean, that just makes me so sad. That makes me like unbearably sad to think that you can't be yourself, or the people that you love, and the people that supposedly love you will abandon you because of it. You know, it's just it's just fucked up on so many levels. But that's exactly what he's talking about here, you know. And he's just, you know, apparently is built with several issues of people abandoning him, and he's got some crazy lines here, like the jaw that could bite you. My mind is a grisly trap. Let me go through some of these because I was just kind of floored by some of them. Your love is a threat, and I'm nauseous. Like, oh my God. Like, think about that. Your love is a threat. Scares me to death how I want it. Oh, like, I don't like, how does this not pull on your heartstrings? How do you not feel for this guy? He is haunted. He is nauseous. He's scared to death, but he just wants that love so much that he's willing to deal, or he's hopefully willing to deal with putting himself out there and being vulnerable himself in order to get what he truly wants. And that's the thing, man. That's the thing. If you want real connections with people, if you want real love, like lifelong love, it's got to be real. There's no way around it. There's no way to fake it. You can't fake a marriage for 50 years. You can't fake that shit, you know? And I mean, I think so many people try, you know? And I think to some degree we all put on a face, especially like at the beginning of a relationship, you know, with people. We're on our best behavior, you know? We're not doing stuff that we think that our partners would not like. But if you want something everlasting, something that's truly going to be with you forever, where you don't have to worry about abandonment ever, I think he knows this, and I think most people know this, but in practice, it's just something that's not done enough. You have to be real. You got to be honest. You got to be yourself through and through to a fault. The good, the bad, the ugly, it's the package, you know? And I think he's at a point in his life right now where he's had so much abandonment. And we're getting little clues about some things that happened with him being a class clown and having some trauma at home. And I would imagine just growing up gay and people, maybe he thought, you know, was his friends or whatever, distancing themselves from him because they don't like that. Because I've seen that firsthand too. I've seen it firsthand, you know? And like my buddy, like he put on a brave face about it. Like he would talk about it a little bit. He's like, oh, that's a bummer. We don't really see him anymore. He doesn't come around or whatever. But like, he just fucking stuffed that emotion down. Like that just went into the pit of his stomach. You know, it was like, oh, okay, hey, we grew up together as like this pack of dudes who would hung out, and like as children, we built, you know, forts in the woods, and you know, we were riding bikes and, you know, doing jumps and stuff like that. And then like one day you realize like the person you grew up with and spent years with, birthday parties, slumber parties, going to the movie, like everything you do as a child with like your group of friends. And then one day, one of those kids just kind of separates, but only from like that other person, and wants to try and get you to hang out with just him and not have him involved. And like, so I think there's like a different sense of abandonment, and it's like, I don't know, it's got to be devastating. And again, it's just not an experience that I've had, but like, I feel like, I don't know if I would have ever been mentally strong enough to even handle that, especially as a child. Like Like that's gotta be like poison to your brain. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here. Song was beautiful. Structurally, it was awesome. Lyrically, some of his best. Beautiful vocals. We got a little piano. I've been dying for some piano in the mix here because his tone just works absolutely perfect with it. But yeah, lyrically, this one is one of my favorites. Let's see what's next. I want to make sure it's not the music video. Oh, it is a music video. All right, let me pull it up here. Now I can stop freaking out about it. I don't have to worry about it. Whoops. Sorry, I'm doing this all on the fly here. Cool. All right, get rid of this. All right, next one is Caramel. This is the last one. So there's 3 music videos to this album, and let's see how they tie together. Digging that fuzz.
Well, in the moment, you weren't all that kind. You with your wide-eyed grins, all I can see when I think of that time. Promises spoken, all coming back as lies. But you with your soft, sweet kiss is all I miss in the back of my mind. Did me wrong in the past, and I know it was.
Don't do it. Frozen pizza's a bad idea.
But you burn inside my memory somehow. You care.
Conan. You must have known he worked there. You must have. You're making bad food choices. Frozen pizza is never good. God damn it. Just pick up some McDonald's. Get some Burger King. Pick yourself up a Baconator. You don't go to the place where you know the dude works. It's going to devastate you.
You care.
He seems all right.
Your cigarette breath, thick on your open mouth. Maple and amber clouds and coffee grounds when I think of it now.
Is that phase in the bass? That's weird.
Oh, and all the nights with your friends around, ignoring me so they won't find out. You can act real cool 'cause it's over now, but man, you cried when it all went down. And no one believed me, you gaslighted feelings. Still, you had me thinking that I was the reason that I was fucking losing my mind.
Oh, this is a psycho with this guy, I think.
At the worst, it was what we deserved. Yeah, you burn inside my memory somehow. You caramel. You caramel. And the longer burn, the sweeter that you smell. You caramel. You caramel. Sweet taste in my mouth. I can't get it out. I want you back now, and we're making out, drunk, sleeping on the couch.
Is it caramel or is it smoke? Do you love it or do you hate it, man?
Just want caramel.
Oh.
I want you back now. Come over my house. There's space in my couch. Yeah, you burn inside my memory so well. You caramel. You're caramel.
Ah, again, sticking the landing, my dude. Okay. So what does this third music video tell us? I don't think there's anything more, right? Make sure there's nothing more. All right, they just make out in the field. Okay. This last music video at least tells me that like all of this is just a cycle. Like I was thinking of this relationship as like, I guess like one linear thing. Like they spent a couple months together, he dumped him or discarded him and that was it. But that's not the case here at all. Like he was with this dude and like he keeps dropping him and picking him back up again. Cause I was like, Conan, what are you doing? Go to the grocery store where you know this guy works. But in reality, what he's doing is he's subjecting himself to more pain because it's just like he can't resist that caramel. And I think it's so odd, like him talking like in some songs, he's like, oh my God, you taste like cigarettes. And the next song is like, oh, you taste like caramel. So it's like this weird back and forth between like love and hate. But like, I think Conan really can't resist this guy either. And even though it's bringing him pain to continue circling back and everything, he's just doing it anyway. And the guy is doing the same thing as well. I think his name is Brad, which is kind of cool, which puts other songs into perspective as well. Like even like Romeo and like Class Clown and stuff like that. Or mostly Romeo, where like it seemed like almost kind of childish and sarcastic, where like how he was like saying, "Oh, you're no Romeo" or whatever. Like to me, this feels like the cycle of him going through, you know, the cycle of all of this of like, oh, the breakup, oh, you suck anyway, you know Romeo, you taste like cigarettes, to like, fuck it, I'll go to your work and I'll pick up a DiGiorno pizza and we'll make out a bit, you know, like because I think he's stuck in this trap as well, like. He's not leading, or in those songs, he's not alluding to the fact that like he means that much to him. But like I knew, like in the first couple tracks, like you could see, like this guy means a lot to him, you know. So I think it's a cycle they're both kind of trapped in, and while they both probably realize it's unhealthy, I think like there's just like they're just magnetized. So maybe in reality, as much as we want to not like this dude, this closeted dude who's like, you know, like poison to Conan. Maybe this is his one, you know, and we just like Conan's just got to wait for him to like be comfortable enough to get out of the closet and come to terms with himself. The question is like by the time he does that, is Conan going to want to be in the same position and like, you know, be vulnerable enough to be open and give himself to him in a complete vulnerable way that he is assured is not going to, you know, destroy him later on. Because I mean, if you've been vulnerable in the past and the people that you've loved have abandoned you, like, god damn, dude. Like I can imagine being kind of like having anxiety about all of that. But as far as these music videos go and everything, I gotta say, like, they're shot very well. The acting is fantastic. The storyline is pretty cool. Like, I didn't realize exactly what was happening until we get to Caramel. That this was all kind of like a circle thing. So I think it's pretty cool in how it tells a story and everything. And yeah, man, I like it. They're beautifully shot and they're cool videos. Very cool. Let's pull this down and get back to Spotify. I can organize all this better. All right. So where are we? That's Caramel. All right, track 9.
Saw you in a photograph with some brunette girl, and I had back laughing. I almost hurled when I saw your hand on the small of her back.
Or maybe he's just bi.
You were never outside with me, spent my summer months in your unwashed sheets, and I know it's dumb that I'd ever think that I'd meet your mom and dad. Skipping your stones at my window in the dark, kissing your ghost was my own damn fucking fault. But deep in my bones I know pain is what I earn, and you remind me of how good it feels to hurt. Yeah, you remind me of how little I deserve. I knew we weren't meant to be. I'm from Texas skies, you're from London streets, and I'm not your type, but you're trying things, so that's everything I need to break apart my own heart again. Validate the worst thoughts inside my head, that I'm not worth shit and I'm better dead. Who's a victim in the end? Skipping your stones at my window in the dark, kissing a ghost was my own damn fucking fault.
Cycle, yeah.
But deep in my bones, I know pain is what I earn.
Why?
And you remind me of how good it feels to hurt.
Maybe because you're not numb just to feel something?
You remind me of how little I deserve. Yeah, you remind me of my father slurring words. So you remind me of how little I deserve.
Slurring words.
God, no.
Please don't fade out. Please don't fade out. I don't know what Conan means. We had the perfect excuse to fade out there and we did it. Hell yeah, dude. Okay. So this is just, I don't know. It feels like almost like self-sabotage to a degree. And like he's trying to invoke emotions. He's trying to invoke something in himself, a feeling. And even though it's a negative one, to feel maybe some sort of comfort or familiarity or like some kind of nostalgia from maybe even his own father. He mentions his father's slurs being similar to like what, you know, he's feeling or whatever. So that like makes me think maybe his dad was drunk and like maybe said some horrible shit to the guy or whatever. And like it's painful, but like it's bringing him back to a place of like comfort in some like weird self-destructive way. And I think at its core, that's what all this is about, is entertaining the idea of self-destruction. And I mean, it's even not only lyrically, but tied in sonically, especially with the way this song ends. I mean, we get so many distorted synths and guitars, and like the melodies become distant and abstract. And like it starts off from a place that's going in a 4-chord structure and ends in a place that's completely disintegrated. And you're just kind of like left in this numb place. And I think that's the thing too, is like he's just in a place that's numb and he's looking for some comfort, and that weird comfort is self-destruction to this guy. And I can get that. I can understand that to a certain degree with depression and everything. And like you just get in these places, you're like, okay, it's bad. You've been here. You feel this way for a while. But I'd be lying if I said that there was no comfort in those deep, dark places. Like there's just something so familiar about it, especially if it's a place you've spent a lot of time. And it's not a good thing. It's negative through and through, but at least it's like something you completely and utterly understand, you know, to a degree. Like you, it's so difficult to explain it, but that's what this song kind of feels like to me. It's a place of comfort in a place that is self-sabotage, and I totally get it. Cornell, so I guess we're learning a little bit more about this dude. Apparently he is from over the pond, or however they say that, and he's a Texas boy. Okay, so that makes sense. And he's just, you know, watching this relationship, like it's just driving him crazy, like seeing the dude that he cares about so much, like with other girls, like, and him knowing like, that's not you, dude. That's not you. You're putting on this front. You're lowering your voice. You're changing who you are. And who are you doing it for? Are you trying to save face from somebody else, or are you trying to convince yourself of something? And to me, it feels like Conan is a little bit more at peace with himself and a little bit more open about, you know, who he is and his sexuality. It doesn't seem to be hiding too much. He seems pretty open about it, but I mean, who knows what his childhood was like? He doesn't talk about coming out himself and about what all that meant and like, you know, the drawbacks and the triumphs of it all. And maybe someday we will. And I know he's got other albums. I think he has 3 other albums that maybe he talks about that. So I might check him out. I mean, honestly, this is a pretty interesting album, and I'm kind of invested in this guy at this point. Like I want the best for him because at the end of the day, he seems like a pretty sweet dude. You know, he seems confused. He seems to relish in some of the negatives sometimes, and he seems to find himself in places that are dark and comfortable. And he puts himself in these cycles, and he's recognizing it. And well, at times I thought he was just coping and being dishonest about things. Like in the context of how this album is played out and where we are right now, it actually feels more honest because it's like he's sharing like the coping mechanism that he goes through in his own head to be comfortable with what's happening here, to justify it in some kind of way. And we learn a little bit more as each song goes on. Yeah, this is a nice one. This is, it's, I don't know. I'm a fan of the dramatics. So even as sad as this is, like, I love that kind of shit, you know? I like the dramatic songs. And yeah, it feels honest. It feels real. And I feel for this guy. But like part of me also feels like is like this guy going out and being with these girls and everything, which is another story too. Maybe I'll tell you, but I don't know if I'll talk about it. But like him seeing his lover with girls and everything, it's like it's a total mindfuck for this guy. I mean, and it's just driving him crazy. When I'm talking about like my friend who came out in like late high school years, I remember he would date like the most beautiful girls in school too. Like they're all flocking to him. He was just like he was incredibly good with the ladies, you know, like they just like I don't know, he was just very suave in his approach. And like me and my other people, like my other buddies, like we were stumbling over ourselves and we just weren't like very good with girls, you know, like we talk to them and we try our best to like have them entertain any of us for our thoughts or whatever. But, you know, we were just dirty fucking dudes playing in the woods and shit, you know, even in high school. So like, but I do remember him like doing some sweet stuff. Like I remember he had one girl and it looking back at it now, it feels like hindsight, but he like kind of pawned her off on me. You know, he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna be going and doing this. You should hang out with Jim. Or he pawned another girl off on like another one of us. Like he was like one of our greatest allies as far as like just other dudes. Like he'd hook us up as girl that like would have no business talking to guys like us and like push them off to us. And they'd be like, oh, okay, well, if you're cool with this cool kid, then you gotta be cool too. He was a fucking solid dude. I just thought about that now. Like I don't think I ever even like put 2 and 2 together, but like, wow, that makes total sense. Huh. It's funny how like that happens. You know, you start thinking about things, you hear something and you try to like think about it from a certain perspective and it reminds you of things that happened in your life that like you just never put together until now thinking about it 20 plus years later. I'm like, oh my God, that's what he was doing. And none of us were the wiser. We just had no fucking clue. Huh. All right, let's just, it's kind of blowing my mind right now. Let's keep on keeping on. Sunset Tower. I'm literally going to call him right after this album reaction. I need to send him some flowers or a gift or something.
Heard you're in the city, you felt like total shit walking past the Tower Hotel. I used to beg you up after shooting all day. We drive around talking about how we hate this place. Lucas says you're dating again. It's horrible getting all your news to a friend. Been trying to hide that I'm still here stuck in your hell. So really, man, if you're out here doing well, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I can't hear it. Don't tell me. Spare me all the stories of how you're moving on, lying to myself when I say that's what I want. Part of me just wants
Starting to be honest with himself.
it's hurting you in the way it's hurting me too. And I know what you said as I was leaving your place. You've got a messed up head and you need some space.
He realizes.
Yeah, that's clear. Go get some help. But if you're working on yourself, don't tell me. Don't tell
Because it'll be harder for him to justify in his head. Oh my God.
I can't hear it.
He's got to like dehumanize him, you know? Or he's afraid to get trapped. Or get back in the cycle.
Don't tell me.
Okay, pretty good. I feel like we're in a better place on this song. Maybe some more time has passed, and I think he realizes like he has been in this cycle for a while, and it's not a positive thing for either of them, and he wants to get out of some of these dark places or not revisit them as much. And he's saying, even if you're doing better, you know, even if you're trying to like fix the problems in your head, and like, I need to like distance myself from you because this is like an unhealthy obsession. And he's realizing even like obsessing over like the girls that he's fucking or whatever, like, is just not a good thing for him. So like he's like, I don't even want to get stuck in that cycle or that trap. And I don't want you to tell me that you're getting better, because if you say you're getting better, like, I don't know if I can even trust myself to stay away from breaking back into this cycle again. And he knows what happens when he does. Yeah, it's a pretty good song. Sonically, it's all right, but it's leading a little bit more into the story of Conan, so I like it. Sunset Tower, huh? All right, what one's next?
Shooting star on the night we first kissed. Like a sign, if I blink, you'll be missed.
Maybe you couldn't look the lyrics. What the fuck?
Shooting star.
All right, what I reckon.
I
have ears.
Like a sign, if I blink, you'll be missed. In my mind, you and I still exist. It's a thought that is dangerous. 'Cause I'll wait forever. I won't look for better. I'll find signs for you and I. Oh, for you and I.
Love the cello.
There's wishbones and clovers and numbers from heaven, shapes in the stars to invent our connection. As much as I act like I want to forget it, I still wish for you at 11:11.
Oh.
I still wish for you. Heard you seeing some girl in New York, so what am I reading horoscopes for? You're still wearing those fucked up white Nikes, so maybe you're superstitious like me. 'Cause I'll wait for nothing, pretending we're something my mind lies for you and I. Oh, for you and I. There's wishbones and clovers and numbers from heaven, shapes in the stars to invent our connection. As much as I act like I want to forget it, I still wish for you at 11:11.
It's trippy, I dig it.
Salt spilling over. Why don't you come back? That shit's over my shoulder. There's black cats, broke glass, cracks on the pavement, but I just can't accept that it's too late to save us. There's wishbones and clovers and numbers from heaven, and if you'd ask me, I'd deny that we ended. As much as I know
Okay, yeah, pretty beautiful. And fade out. No, fade down. Good man, good man. Okay, we didn't have lyrics in that one, which is kind of weird, but whatever. I have ears. To hear this dude. Talking about superstitions and things that he tied his relationship to, you know, obviously 1111, meaning they wished on something, and you know, that was like their special time and their number. I guess I kind of have one with my wife too. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that it's like a special thing. I think a lot of people have like things they have with like numbers or whatever. That you just kind of bring up. But he talked about like 4-leaf clovers, wishbones, black cats, and stuff like that, and him wearing the Nikes that are fucked up. So like, but they wear those shoes because they're symbolic and they mean something. They think it's going to bring them some kind of positive energy or something. So okay, yeah, that's gonna suck too. It's like once like you have these things that are like you're gonna see every single day, at least twice, you know, like times and everything, like 1111. At least twice a day, you're gonna be reminded of that person. So that's another trap you're setting yourself in. The next one is, oh, we've reached the last song. Okay. All right. The last song, Actor. We started off with Actor, him agreeing that he's gonna entertain this cycle, you know, even though he's really hurt and this other guy's a better actor, he can put himself in, you know, these positions and be fine slipping in and out of things. Well, Conan can't. And we've had a wild up and down journey, and we've learned a little bit more about Conan throughout the way, some of his childhood issues, some family issues, the cycle of this relationship. And we've seen him get to some petty, you know, broken open wound places, and we've seen him get to a point where he's kind of healing and getting to a point where he's realizing that he can't quit this dude. All right. So we're finishing off with Care. How does this all tie up? Let's check it out. All right. Kind of another 80s kind of melody here.
Charlie, when do you show? He says he can tell that you're doing well. Finally, out of your spell.
Okay.
All that I want is just to move on. Life's so much better now that we don't speak, and we felt like strangers in February. But there will always be parts of me that are yours. And I don't cry 'cause it is over. I just don't feel like I could love again. And I told myself that I'm over you, but I care. I care, My fault for making believe mistook who you are for who you could be. Pretend to hate you instead, though I won't miss being your lover. I'm still losing a friend, so I don't cry 'cause it is over. I just don't feel like I could love again. And I told myself that I'm over you, but I care.
Finally. Finally.
I'm not trying to say that I want you back, but it's best to linger in the past. Oh, it's good to know that you're not attached, but what does it trigger me so bad?
Because you care. That's why.
To see you with somebody who is not me, yeah, you're happy. But I don't cry 'cause it is over. I just don't feel like I could love again. And I told myself that I'm over you, but I
All right. 10 out of 10. We didn't have one fade out on any of these tracks. All right. Dude, let's talk about this for a second because we are in a full cycle moment here. And Conan, I'm not sure if you watch reactions, but if you do, bravo on this one. I wasn't quite sure where we were going at some points in this album. We were revisiting themes that we'd already touched upon, but it wasn't until the album continued that I realized that there was some actual momentum and it had some cohesive elements to it because we were living within cycles. And though we started off with Actor, with him quietly having acceptance of like, oh, okay, we'll just pretend that this doesn't mean anything. And he's like, okay, yeah, you're right. We should do this. By the time we get over to the last track in the album, Care, it makes so much more sense with everything in between because now he's like, he's being honest with himself. He's not the actor anymore. He's saying, you know, I do actually care. We had some beautiful moments and it still hurts seeing you happy with somebody else because you've meant so much to me. And that's what was confusing to me because at least the first 3 songs, you could just tell. You could tell like there was some like, this wasn't just a primalistic sex thing. Like this was like deep-seated emotions. Like this was love, man. And when we get to Romeo, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like Romeo feels like so out of place after like these first 3 songs where I'm like, all right, this feels so fake. But in reality, what we were listening to, actually out of all these songs, what we were listening to, what feels like is like entries in a journal or a diary or something. You know, like him trying to convince himself, him trying to come to terms with loss and abandonments and insecurities and the fact that like he can't be himself in some situations and he's seeing somebody else struggle being themselves in situations. And he loves this person and he feels like they're just not being their authentic self. And like, if he would just be his authentic self, like when they are together, when they're alone, like they would just be so much happier together. Yeah, man, through and through, it's a beautiful album. I was invested in the Conan Gray story. He seems like a solid, sweet dude. He seems like a guy that like, at some points I thought he was like coping too hard and just like kind of like not being real with us, the listener, but that's not what was happening. This was him coping with himself. This was him understanding his own headspace and his own emotions and his own cycles and his own tendencies and explaining them to us. And in that facet, it's an incredibly honest and vulnerable album, even though vulnerability scares the shit out of this guy, you know, especially being at the stage right now where like it's your job to be vulnerable. Like it's one thing to be vulnerable with people and them just being like, oh, no, that's lame. And them fucking off for a bit. And like, if you don't have any real attachment to them or they're not like your friends or family, like, it doesn't really mean too much. But if like you're putting out an album that's so like, so much a part of yourself, then I don't know. I just think it's an incredibly brave thing to do. And I feel like it's almost a statement piece in itself because we know that this guy has some issues and some insecurities with being vulnerable. Even though I feel like on this album, he's been incredibly vulnerable. Class Clown was an instinct of it. The only song that like I didn't like really enjoy was Sunset Tower. Not because it like there was anything inherently wrong with it. I just feel like I feel like that side of things had already been explained. But whatever, I'm sure he has his reasons. But other than that, like it's a great album through and through. Vodka Cranberry with like the massive chorus. Even Romeo was kind of fun, you know. It had like that cool indie vibe to it. Class Clown I thought was beautiful. Nauseous was wild. Caramel, dude. I mean, the music video series was really cool and well shot. It was like a little mini movie. 1111 was just kind of sweet. You know, and that's the thing too, is like you have these relationships that end and like there's certain parts of yourself that are like forever owned by that person. Certain things and experiences that you shared together that maybe you don't share with your current wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Just because you're just not in the same place anymore. And it's like, oh, that's like a moment we shared together. It's forever kind of like our little thing, even though it's not something like you ever talk to that person about or bring up or really dwell on too much. It's a time and place, like in space and like our timeline that we shared together, you know, and it does have meaning. So I feel like we kind of got that vibe from 1111, but the way it all tied with Care at the end and him having that admission that like he's not an actor, that he understands the cycle, that he understands, you know, falling into these traps of doing this over and over again brings him to some dark places. So he's got to be healthy enough to stay away from him. just he doesn't even want to know about him. He doesn't want to have any he has to cut off all contact. But at the end of the day, the admission of him being like, you know what, this isn't a situation like Romeo where I think you're not even the best guy for me or whatever. It's a situation where it's just like it's destructive to both of us. And at the end of the day, no matter what, I still honestly, truly love and care about this person. And that's just the way it is. And that's what it is with life. That's what it is with relationships and everything anyway, man. You know, so it was honest. It was beautiful. It was awesome. I should check out some other stuff from him. What other kind of how many other albums does he have? Super Ache, Found Heaven, Kid Row. Maybe I'll check out these albums. If you guys want me to check out these albums and share it with you guys, let me know. I'll do a video. If not, I'll just check it out on my own because at this point, I'm kind of invested in this guy. I like him. I like it a lot. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for hanging out, spending some time with me. I'll be back real soon with the next reaction. I got a couple other random album reactions that I've had in the back burner for a while. Other than that, I got Lady Gaga coming up. I got some more Taylor Swift coming up. I got some BTS stuff coming up this week. It's going to be a busy couple weeks. So thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.